But he knows on the guidelines for the Course in Miracles that you don't have to believe it, you don't have to accept it, you don't have to welcome it. Some of it's going to be hard to believe, some of it might seem to be startling. But if you use it, you'll see that it works. If you use it, did I say if you use it? Yeah, if you use it, you'll see that it works. And what I did today was I like to pick out a section in the way of mastery and just kind of open it up anywhere and see what the message is for the group to start out today before I get into the Course in Miracles. And then share a little of it with you before we get into the lesson for today. It says, have you not feared the times the welling up of desire within you? Have you not feared the welling up of desire within you? For as I look upon your plane, there are many who become paralyzed with fear just because they desire to have a bowl of ice cream. I love that. Become paralyzed with fear because they desire a bowl of ice cream. So afraid are they that if they give in to that desire, something in the ice cream will cause their body to bloat and their brain to cease functioning. For those of you in intimate relationship, marriage, or a commitment of some kind, how many of you have not carried the belief taught to you by the world that if you feel an energy of desire welling up within you when you look upon someone who is not your partner? I know that's never happened with any of you, but I know that's never occurred here in the group. But if that should happen to you, somehow you've sinned against God. How many of you do not know the experience of trying to rein in the 10,000 horses so sure that if you give in to that feeling of desire that everything will run amok and that your attempt to keep your life structured and rigid and predictable would collapse and all hell would break loose if you gave in to your desires? Yet I say unto you, would you exist if God had feared the desire to create and extend love by forming you? At the same time giving you infinite freedom of choice. Without desire, look around. Not only would you see nothing, there would be nothing to do the seeing. Everything is the effect of desire. Come then to see that desire is not evil. Desire is not to be feared. Desire is to be mastered. Mastery is not control, because control, the need to control, is an effect of the energy of fear, not love. The need to control is an effect of the energy of fear, not love. Mastery of desire comes when you recognize that you are safe to feel whatever wave of desire might come up through your consciousness. You are safe to feel whatever wave of desire that might come up through your consciousness, because you decide whether or not you will act on it, whether you will bring it into the field of manifestation. The power of choice is the one power that can never be taken from you. You already have perfect mastery of the power of choice, because nothing you ever experience comes to you without your decision to allow it into the field of manifestation. That's deep. I need to hear that one more time. I'll say that one more time. I'll say that one more time. Nothing you ever experience comes to you. Nothing you ever experience comes to you without your decision to allow it into the field of your manifestation. Nothing is coming to you that you aren't allowing through your decision. Nothing is coming to me that I don't allow through my decision. Nothing is coming to you that you don't allow through your decision. Nothing is coming to you that you don't allow through your decision. Nothing is coming to you that you don't allow through your decision. Nothing is coming to you that you do not allow into your experience. There's nothing that happens to you that you are not allowing into your experience. There's nothing that comes to you that you are not allowing into your experience. There's nothing that comes to me that I'm not allowing into my experience. There's nothing that comes to me that I'm not allowing into my experience. There's nothing that comes to you that you're not allowing into your experience. There's nothing that comes to you that you're not allowing into your experience. There's nothing that comes to you that you're not allowing into your experience. There's nothing that comes to you that you're not allowing into your experience. There's nothing that comes to you that you're not allowing into your experience. Do you know what is coming into your experience is coming from? It's coming from what you allow into your experience. If there's a part of you that doesn't agree with that, it just means you're out of touch with what you desire. What you desire is not what you think you desire. That's interesting. What I desire is not what I think I desire. I think that's hilariously good news. Mm-hmm. Because if everything that comes into my experience is coming through my desire, then all I have to do is get in touch with what it is I'm desiring. Stop coming up with opposing beliefs to what that desire is, so that I can allow that desire to manifest and come into my experience. So the message that Spirit wants to give us right off the bat today is that nothing is coming into our experience that we're not allowing into our experience. And everything that's happening in your experience right now that you're enjoying, everything that's happening in your experience right now that you're enjoying, everything that's happening in your experience right now that you are enjoying, everything that's happening in your experience that you love, everything that's happening in your experience that you appreciate, everything that's happening in your experience that turns you on, you are allowing it. You are allowing it. It's only happening because you are allowing it. All the good things that are happening to you, they're happening because you are allowing it. It's not like the good things come whether you make that decision to allow it or not, but then the stuff that you don't like shows up because you are allowing it to come. The truth is, everything that's loving in your life and everything that you enjoy in your life and everything that empowers you in your life is also coming because you are allowing it. So desire is a good thing. Passion is a good thing. Desire is a good thing. Being turned on is a good thing. Enthusiasm creates. Enthusiasm creates. Sometimes I'll come in here and I don't feel enthusiastic at all. But I choose to. Because I realize that nothing's going to happen unless I initiate it and allow it to happen within me. I'm no longer waiting for everybody else to turn me on. When somebody else gets turned on, turn me on, then I'll be enthusiastic. Like, if I get you enthusiastic, then you'll be enthusiastic. Bullshit. Ain't doing it. Ain't doing it. I'm going to be enthusiastic so I can have enthusiasm. That's why I'm doing it. Not to get you to moving, but to get me to moving. To get the enthusiasm and the energy happening in my life. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes the temptation is when you come to something like this is go, my body is here, that's all that's necessary. I made it to the chair, that's all I got to do. I'm not lying or what? It's like if I can get here, then I've done my part. That's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. But it depends on how much you've reached your limit and whatever it is you think you're going through as to how much a person gets ready to move in another direction. Me personally, I want to turn my entire life around and allow it to be completely different within the next 6 months. So I've set a goal for myself to be in a totally different reality of my experience of myself within the next 6 months. So I've gone on a crash program of just Course in Miracles my butt off, every true thing I can focus in on, practicing this at a level I've never practiced it before, because I know that if I want to change, I'm the one that's got to be the initiator of the change, but I need some help. I need some help. I need some instruction. And so the lesson we're going to be on is page 13. It's called The Illusion of Needs. The Illusion of Needs. I don't know what happened to my mic. I can always tell when I'm having a good class that my ego is tripping because everything stops functioning. That's why. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. The illusion of needs. And the first thing I'd like to say is that I'm completely, totally, and completely 100% grateful for each and every one of you that's sitting up here today. That you have told blessings in my life. And I'm glad you're here. And you're juicy. And you're cute.
Yes.
And you're sweet.
Yes,
and you're luscious.
Yes.
That's how I see you. Now, I don't know how you see you, but that's how I see you. Every time I see you, I get a great big heart on.
Right.
It's an incredible experience. And the Course in Miracles says an illusion is a false idea, something that you want to be true even if it's not true. And then it goes on to say, so the illusion of needs is a way of saying the false idea of needs. The false idea of needs. It says, you who want peace can find peace only by complete forgiveness. Now the Course defines forgiveness as correct perception, which I think is interesting. It defines it as correct perception, that forgiveness means correct perception. Forgiveness doesn't mean I'm overlooking what you did to me because I am on such a high level of consciousness than you are. Forgiveness means I have the correct interpretation of the situation. I have the correct interpretation of the situation. I have the correct interpretation of the situation. So forgiveness means correct perception. The Course says correct perception is incorrect interpretation. So if I have the correct interpretation of a situation, he says, then you feel peace. So peace comes from having a correct interpretation. So that means conflict comes from having what? An incorrect interpretation. So whatever I'm in conflict about right now, it means I have an incorrect perception of what's happening, up to and including death. If I see death correctly, I won't be getting upset about that either. That's deep. So a correct perception brings peace, an incorrect perception brings conflict. Who is it that's giving every perception the meaning that it has? I am. So therefore I'm the one that's creating the way that I feel about whatever is happening. So I'm going to use a lot of repetition. Spirit was saying use a lot of repetition, because that will bring it home for me. So that would be another way of saying, if you want to have peace, you can only have it by correct interpretation. If you want to have peace, you can only have it through correct interpretation. Only correct interpretation gives peace. Only correct interpretation gives peace. Only correct interpretation gives peace. Look in the area of your life, right now that you're not feeling peace in, and tell yourself, my perception of that situation is incorrect. My perception of that person is incorrect. My perception of my boss 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 is incorrect. I hate my job. My perception of my job is incorrect. My perception of my job is incorrect. My perception of my partner is incorrect. My perception of my partner is incorrect. How do I know? Because I just put a little arsenic into their morning latte. So it's a possibility that I might not be seeing that joker correctly because I'm getting ready to do them in. It might be a hint, okay? Do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? Do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? Do I want to be right about the way that I'm seeing you, or do I want to be happy? Do I want to have peace? Peace comes from what? Complete forgiveness. Complete forgiveness is complete what? Correct interpretation. So then it goes on to say, no learning is acquired by anyone unless he wants to learn it and believes in some way he needs it. So if a person wants to learn something, first they have to want to learn it and they have to believe somehow they need it. So first I have to want it, then I have to need it. First I have to want it, then I have to need it. I have to want to learn the course, and then I have to realize I need to learn the course. I have to want to learn the course, and then recognize that I need to learn the course. No learning is acquired by anyone unless he wants to learn it and believes in some way he needs it. Why does the kid want to learn how to drive a car? They learn how to drive a car because they want to drive a car, and somehow they believe they need to drive a car. So that's why they be freaking out when it's time for them to get their driver's license. It's because they learn to drive a car because they want to learn to drive a car because they feel like they need it. So if a person wants to learn spiritual truth, then the Course says that learning is not going to happen unless you want it and believe you need it. So I want to learn this. So first of all, I'm going to tell myself, I want to learn this. I need to learn this. I need to learn the correct interpretation if I want complete peace. I have two voices in my mind. One voice seems to be completely dedicated to making me feel like crap as much as it possibly can all the time, no matter what's going on. There's another voice in me that constantly reminds me that I'm loving and I'm lovable, and that I deserve to be happy, and that I'm a powerful, infinite being, and that this is some kind of a grand joke that I've forgotten to laugh at. So the Course says lack doesn't exist in the creation of God. There's no such thing as a creation of God experiencing lack. There's no such thing as a creation of God experiencing lack. There's no such thing as a creation of God experiencing lack. There's no such thing as a creation of God experiencing lack. So if you think you are experiencing lack, would that mean that you must be out of touch with yourself as a creation of God? Okay, so wherever I'm experiencing lack, I should be telling myself I'm out of touch with who I really am. I'm having financial difficulties because I'm out of touch with who I really am. I'm having a problem with this relationship because I'm out of touch with who I really am. I am a creation of love. I am a creation of God. I am a creation of truth. I am a creation of love. I'm a creation of the Creator. So therefore it's impossible for me to lack. So where does lack come from? Lack doesn't come from the economy. Lack comes from not recognizing who you really are. A lack of love doesn't come from you're not cute enough. A lack of love comes from a person forgetting who they really are. Any kind of lack in your life in any way is coming from this, is saying it's coming from not recognizing you are a creation of love. So notice what Spirit has already told us this morning. Nothing comes to me unless I allow it. Then I'm not going to have peace unless I start seeing things correctly. And if I see myself as experiencing any kind of lack, it's because I'm out of touch with who I really am. What does the world say? Just the opposite. Everything that's happening to me is being caused by something outside of myself. That if I want peace, it's going to come from getting that joke back. I'm going to have to take some vengeance out on somebody. So I'm going to have to kick some butt somewhere. And then the world also says that I am not, I'm going to lack for some other reason other than me getting in touch with the fact that I'm an infinite being. I'm an infinite being having a physical and human experience. Then it goes on to say, while lack doesn't exist in the creation of God, look, it's very apparent in what you've made. We'll say lack is not apparent in the creation of God, but lack is very apparent in what you've made. It is in fact the essential difference between the creation of God and a creation that you make up. So what does that say? It's saying that in a situation that I'm experiencing lack, that's something that I've made. So lack is always coming from me. There is no lack that comes from my real self. So therefore, if I'm experiencing any kind of lack in any way, if it's a lack of love in a relationship, then I'm the one that's creating it. If there's a lack of joy on my job, then I'm the one that's creating it. Wherever I'm experiencing any kind of lack must have been created by me, because nothing created by God is lacking. Man is asking me to take a lot of responsibility for my experience. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Do you know how big of a break that means I'm going to give you? You have any idea how big of a break people who take responsibility for their experience give to everybody else? You have any idea what a joy it is to be around a person who believes that they're responsible for anything that's missing? If I'm in a relationship and it's not going right, then the only thing that could be missing in that relationship is what I'm not giving. The only thing that's missing in any relationship with anybody is what I am not giving. And what I'm not giving is my faith. My faith in myself, my faith in the truth, and my faith in that person. So to get to the happiness that we want to reach, the most important thing to do, don't you know, is to tell the truth about everything. So I'm going to tell you all the truth today. The truth is, the only thing that's ever allowed in my life is what I'm deciding. The truth is, when I'm in conflict, it's because I'm not seeing things correctly. The truth is, I don't learn anything unless I want it and unless I believe I need it. And if there's anything missing in my life, then what I'm doing is not the will of God. I am not following my guidance. I am not in touch with the truth. So I just want to confess to you all that that's what's going on in the areas of my life that I think I'm not happy in right now. That's what's happening. That's it. That's it. Whatever's going on that I don't like, I'm the one that's creating it. I'm doing it. I admit it to you all. Whatever is missing is what I'm not giving. And when I don't learn something, it's because I don't believe I want to and I don't believe I need it. I'm owning it. I'm not fighting it. I'm through being a rebellious child. It doesn't pay off. It makes your life too hard. Okay, so you're going to be blessed by my realization of that, because that means I won't be a person that's holding you responsible for what I'm going through. So I'll be cool to get along with. Then it goes on to say, I love this. It says, lack implies that you'd be better off in a state somehow different than the one you're in. So what is it? What is the thought that creates lack? The thought that creates lack is the thought, I'd be better off in a situation other than the one I'm in. I'd be better off in a situation other than the one I'm in. Whenever you say that to yourself, that produces lack. Because that means what I'm looking for is not happening now. So as soon as I say I'd be better off in some situation other than the one I'm in, that implies something's missing, something's lacking. I'd be better off in some other job other than the one I'm in. Well, that's going to create lack in the job, lack of love, lack of peace, lack of joy where you are. Because the minute you think you'll be happier somewhere else, that presupposes that where you're at cannot be happiness. So the idea of lack is actually coming from little things that we say that we don't even think about it that we're saying. Like when you say, I think I'd be better off in a situation better than the one I'm in. Rather than asking myself, how can I see the truth of the situation that I'm in such a way that I can see what the gift in this situation is, and then move into something new and better from a place of wholeness and a place of peace. Answers. Answers. When I get to the end of the paragraph, I'm going to throw it open for any kind of questions or discussion. It says, until the separation, which is the meaning of the fall, nothing was lacking. There were no needs at all. Needs arise only when you deprive yourself. Okay, let's go back on that one for a minute. Until I believed I was separate from God, nothing was lacking. Until I began to believe I was separate from my source, nothing was lacking. And then the Course says, when you are in touch with the source, when you are joined with God, when you are joined with that which created you, it says nothing is lacking. You don't have any needs at all. So a conscious being, a loving being, a powerful being, a person who knows who they are, does not have any needs. So a person that does not know who they are has tons of needs. A person who knows who they really are as a spiritual being, they have no needs. So, which one of those categories do I fall into? Do I fall into the category of the person who really knows that he's united with Source, or do I fall into the category of the person who thinks they're separate from Source? Which one do you fall into? Do you fall into the category of you're completely joined with Source, or are you in the category right now where you think you'd be better off in some situation other than the one that you're in, so therefore you're experiencing lack right now?
Number 2 here.
What'd you say?
I said that would be number 2 here.
Okay, all right, okay. Yeah, but see, what we don't get is every time we tell the truth, that's when the situation will correct itself, because the situation is only happening so that you'll get to the point that you'll recognize the truth. So our ego tells us, never admit the truth. And then you keep the situation that's upsetting you. But if you were to stop for a second and go, okay, everything in my life is the optimum condition for me to learn some kind of a spiritual lesson. I mean, that's why it's set up. I don't care if it's the job, I don't care if it's the friends, I don't care if it's your love life, I don't care if it's your financial life. The Course says it only has one purpose, to get you to the point that you'll turn within and ask what the truth is and get in touch with what the truth is. So if I go ahead and voluntarily accept the truth, I have completely destroyed the need to go through the crap that I think I'm going through in order to get the lesson. So if I say to myself something like, okay, I'm going through all of this right now so that I'll get to the point where I recognize that nothing's happening to me that I'm not allowing. I'm going through this situation right now so that I'll come to the realization that it's only through complete forgiveness, which is correct perception, that I will be healed. I'm going through what I'm going through right now so that I will learn that there is no lack in me. There is nothing missing in me. That every lack that I'm going through is coming from something I'm making up and something I'm telling myself. So if I was just to go ahead and say that, then I'm getting the lesson that all the stuff I'm going through is trying to get me to recognize, so the learning condition goes away because the learning condition is no longer needed. You all see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Yeah, it's like, why am I having this problem in my relationship? Because at some point, I'm going to have to get to the point that I recognize that I'm only going to have peace in this relationship when I completely forgive. And I'm going to keep on having this problem until I completely forgive. But what is forgiveness? Forgiveness is when I have the correct perception of what's going on. Not when I overlook what I think my partner has done. Not when I overlook the fact that they came home late. Not when I try to overlook the fact that they went out with somebody else. Not when I try to overlook whatever I think they're doing. That's going to keep the lesson showing up, because that's not what you're supposed to be learning. What you're supposed to be learning is that nothing is happening in that situation that you're not allowing by your own decision. What you're supposed to be learning is any lack in that situation is coming from something I made up, because a creation of love doesn't have a lack in it. So if it is true love, there is nothing missing. If it's true love, you can't even fix your mouth to say something's missing with somebody you letting love express through. But I could be in a relationship with you and say, there is not love being allowed in this relationship, and I would like every block that keeps us from having love be removed. I want to recognize what's missing so that I can allow the love to come through. Then I don't have to keep on going through stuff with you, because now I'm actually going in the direction of what the lesson is for. The truth is easier than any solution that your ego makes up. The truth is easier than any solution you're going to come up with. I promise you. Give me your solution and I'll compare it to the truth solution, and I bet you my solution coming from this book will win every time. Because every solution that a human being makes up is always a solution that involves trying to control forces beyond their control. Every time a person comes up with an answer, it's always something they don't have any control over. The answer is to get my partner to change. The answer is to get my boss to give me a raise. The answer is to make sure that I don't get in touch with that paralyzing ice cream. Think about it. Almost every solution the human mind comes up with, I got to get my mother to start giving me more appreciation. I need to get the people on the job to stop giving me a hard time. The human solution will always involve something beyond your immediate control. That's why you're guaranteed to fail. Every time. Because the ego sets it up that way. Because through that, you believe you're separate from love, separate from God, separate from joy, separate from happiness. Why? Because I'm a miserable son of a gun. So the part of you that wants to be miserable is going to come up with every reason in the world why what I just said is a bunch of crap. Okay? My ego doesn't like what I just said. Your ego probably doesn't either. You probably got some great yes buts. Yes but, 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 yes but. But what about? But what about? But what about? You trying to tell me? You trying to tell me? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean that something's that what I'm not giving is the only thing that's missing in that situation? I know I'm showing up 100% in this relationship. Man, you crazy black man. What's going on with you? You follow me? Your ego doesn't like the truth. The part of you that doesn't like you doesn't like me. Because I'm saying you're powerful. I'm saying you're not a victim. I'm saying you can change everything today. So I'm not talking to your ego and I'm not talking to my ego. I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to your ego, I'm talking to you. I don't care about your ego. I'm trying not to care about mine. So it's not about your egos. It's not about my ego. It's about the fact that I believe you're infinitely powerful, loving beings. That you deserve to be happy, there's nothing missing in your life, and you can have peace today. That's who I'm interested in. I'm not interested in the part of you that's trying to figure out what's wrong with the idea that you shouldn't have anything missing. I'm not interested in the part of you that thinks it's somebody else's fault for what you're going through. That's not even you. So I'm not even talking to that you. That is not even you. You're magnificent. You're perfect. You're whole. There's nothing missing in you. You're an infinite being. You're an infinite creator. You can have it just the way you want to. Anything in your life that you want can come into your experience because you can allow it. I'm talking to that dude. I'm not talking to the one that got dropped on his head when you was a baby. You know, the one that had the parent that didn't say you were beautiful every day. The one that's had relationships that never works out. The one that doesn't ever seem to be happy. I'm not talking to that person because that person doesn't exist. That person doesn't even exist. That's a made-up concept in our mind that has nothing to do with the truth of who we are. And the Course says it gets weary when you start talking the truth. So if I'm doing this right, you know, some of you get a little weary. That's all right. Fall out on the floor. It's pretty soft. It's all right. The carpet will catch you fall dead out. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. I'm going to finish this paragraph, I promise you. Then we can get a chance to hear the yes buts. Okay. Then the chorus says, okay, so look at what the chorus does. The chorus tells you how the part of you that doesn't practice the truth or know the truth operates. And then in the very next sentence, it tells you the way that the part of you that does love you, how it operates. That's the way it does the whole book. The part of you that doesn't know the truth, that doesn't love you, is going to do this. The part of you that loves you is going to do this. The part of the other person that doesn't love you is going to do this. And the part of the other person that loves you and appreciates you is going to do this. So that you can recognize at the very beginning when you're moving toward love and when you're moving toward fear. You should be able to tell instantly when you're with someone that you're going to go into fear with. You should be almost instantly able to tell when you're with someone that you're going to experience joy and peace with, because you would have learned how the two minds operate. So if I meet someone and they tell me something like, everything that happens to me in this relationship with you is going to be my creation. All right, that sounds cool. Then they say right behind that, I want to have peace with you. The peace that I want to have with you is going to come from me being able to see things correctly. Sounds like this might be a pretty cool person. The only thing that's missing in our relationship, I promise you, would be what I'm not giving. That sounds like a really cool person. Actually, I don't have any needs, so I'm not trying to get anything from you, and I'm not trying to use you, and I'm not trying to manipulate you, because there's nothing I need to get from you anyway. Would you like to go out? Would you like to hang? Could we hang out tonight? Right. Now I'm sitting in front of a person, they're going, boy, I tell you, being a woman or a man in America is really a hard thing. Oh my God, I'm in such conflict right now because it seems like my boss is not appreciating me. Oh my goodness, there's so much lack in my life right now that I'm trying to get over, and I haven't forgiven the person I was with the last time. I don't care what their body look like, you finna get ready for some hell. Okay, this person is not gonna be a long range, really cool experience for you. I don't care how cute they are. If they're not practicing the truth, if they're not sharing the truth, which you recognize because you've studied, then you can tell from the very beginning what you're getting ready to get into. Now, what are you fated to experience? People say the word fate. What are you fated to experience? You're fated to experience what you don't have the awareness to avoid. So if you end up with that person, that was your fate. Because you didn't use the truth with that person. So they're going to make you aware of that truth sooner or later. And the reason I keep saying person is because the Course in Miracles is a tool for enlightenment through relationship. It's a relationship path. So that's why I keep talking about what is relationship to your finances, relationship to God, a relationship to a person. They're all relationships. So this is the Course's way to get into bliss. It's through the use of relationships. So a relationship isn't just with another person. You got a relationship with your car. You got a relationship with your wardrobe. You have a relationship. I've heard people say, well, this doesn't really apply to me because I'm not in a special relationship. You're in a relationship with something. We all are. And so I'm going to use whatever I'm in a relationship with to bring me joy, to bring me conflict. And so the Course then says, you act according to the particular order of needs you establish. So that means that's going to depend on your perception of what you are. If I believe that I'm an insecure person, then I'm going to establish needs where other people validate me all the time. I'm going to need other people to validate me all the time because my perception of myself is that I'm lacking. So I come up with my needs based on what I think I am. If I think I'm a stupid person, then I'm going to have a particular order of needs that say I need to get educated. If I'm a hungry person, then my need is to get some food. In other words, your needs follow your identity, not the other way around. First I decide who I am, then I come up with what I need. I am lonely. I need companionship. I am horny. I need sex. I am lacking spiritual awareness. Now I need a spiritual path. You follow me? Your needs come after however you identify yourself. So how do I change my needs? I change my perception of who I am. And when I change my perception of who I am, my needs change. So you tell me what your needs are, and I'll tell you who you think you are. So if I need to attack you, then I am full of grievances. See, it always comes back from who I am. Okay, any questions or anything about that? Yes.
Well, Earl, I'm glad that you said that, like, the ego says that, you know, keeps you from, like, seeing that what you can have now. That's what you said.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you said that, because this whole idea that I have of striving, that's like a good ego trap. Because
Yes.
striving entails that it's something that I'm going to get in the future.
Right.
That I can't have right now.
It's a difference between going out in the world from the perception that you are a loving being and you're going out in the world to receive the love that you are, than being a person who thinks you're not loving, getting ready to go out in the world to get the love that you think is missing. Because you're going out to get the love based on the idea that you don't have it. So you never succeed. That's why when you see people going out there to get the abundance, so they're going to go out and get rich, but they're trying to get rich from the perspective that they're broke. They very seldom succeed because they're not coming from a space that there's nothing missing. They're coming from a space that there's something missing that they're going out in the world to get. It would be better to go, I am whole and complete, and now I'm going out into the world to receive that which I deserve, out of my sense of abundance, out of my sense of wholeness and completion. So I claim I am an abundance child of God, that abundance is my natural state, that there's nothing missing, and I'm going to have the fun of going out there and seeing how it shows up. I'm going to go out there and have the fun of seeing how that relationship shows up. I'm going to go out there and have the fun of seeing how my career shows up. I'm going to go out there and have the fun of seeing how my freedom shows up. I'm already free, so I'm going to see how it shows up. It's different from, I'm completely limited, and I'm going to go out here and get my freedom. It doesn't work. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Okay.
I forgot how to word it. But what my impulse right now to do is to bolt. You know, my solution is just to go, be done, just lay it down. Just let it be. Right? So, does that apply to you as my solution?
A brilliant strategy. It's the strategy of love. That's what love would tell you. Recognize misery and go the other freaking way.
Okay, cool.
It's so hard to get people to do that. They think they got to stay there and wrestle with it. They got to stay there and they got to change it and they've got to work on it and they've got to. If you're working on something from the perception that the love is there, that's one thing. But working on something from the perception that it ain't there, but you're trying to get it there, it's stupid. It would be better to go, I recognize this as misery, and I love myself so much I'm going the other way. So, and only you know whether or not you felt like you've done what's necessary. Because usually a person, in many cases, doesn't get to that point until they feel like they tried the best they could in the situation they've had it. But I'm saying you're innocent if you decide to do that the first date.
Cool. Thanks.
You'd be innocent if you decide to do that one day after the ceremony. And you went, we got married yesterday, I don't want to be with you no more. But the world says you're guilty. The world says you didn't have consistency, you didn't stick to it. You should have hung in there longer. Nobody has to make you hang in there with somebody you want to hang in there with. Nobody has to make you work it out with somebody you want to be with. That's crap. Love doesn't require all of that. Fear requires that. When it's unreal, it requires all that work everybody's doing because the love ain't there. You working so hard on that job because you don't love that job. You working so hard because you don't love it. It's something, the course just told us, it's something you made up, Earl. How do you know you made it up? Because you think something is lacking and you think something is missing, which means you made this job up. You made this relationship up. You made this financial situation up. Because anything that comes from God does not reflect any effort. It's about allowing. It's about receiving. It's about letting it in. Your good is trying to get to you so hard. It's doing everything it can to get to you. And we're fighting it every way we possibly can, you know. But you're going to lose. You're going to be defeated. Your desire to keep your good from you isn't going to work. Love is going to show up in spite of everything you try to keep to block it. A fulfilling life is going to happen to you. I don't care how much you try to make sure. It's built into the system. The system wasn't set up for us to lose. The system was set up for us to win. In spite of what we've learned. That's what keeps me going on this stuff. Man, if I thought I had to believe what the world says in order for me to feel motivated, I wouldn't have any motivation. It looks like we out here just... It's ridiculous. It's crazy. It's like that story, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. I don't know if y'all ever get a chance, read that book. It's a trip book. You know, he was talking about how all the gulls was fighting after trying to get the fish, you know, and he just wanted to fly. He just wanted to see how good he could fly. Well, all the rest of the gulls was just, can you get that, let me see if I can get that piece of fish. And they fighting over that fish. Kind of sounds like somebody I know. And he just wanted to be the best that he could be in who he was. But guess what the side effect of him trying to be the best he could be was? Getting the fish was nothing for him. Because he was so good at flying. So he could eat anytime he wanted to. But the gulls that was focused on the eating, they wasn't focusing on being who they could be. So they didn't have the capacity to fly as well as they should have been able to. And so they were always fighting for the limited amount of food that they thought was there. Does that sound familiar? And the gulls thought he was crazy. Especially his parents. Why can't you be like other gulls? Right? How many of y'all recognize that's us, y'all? That's us. But many people come to a class to try to get their little piece of fish. It's not about coming to the class so that they could be the best they could possibly be. It's about, I got a problem on my job, and can you tell me what to do to solve that problem tomorrow? How can I get in touch with this unlimited spiritual being that I am that can create anything that could possibly desire at will? I'm not interested in that. I want to find out how I can get a raise. That's the goal on the beach, looking for the little fish without trying to find out who they are. I don't want to be one of those. So I dealt with the same thing he's dealt with. Man, you're going to go out in the world, teach a course in miracles. Nobody even heard of that. Because you want to find out who you are on a love offering basis most of the time. You're crazy. You better go out there and get that job and get some kind of job doing something you don't really love just so you can make some money and you can be able to pay your bills. No. I'm not one of those goals. I'm not. No. Get me in touch with what I really am so I can create and allow and make that decision that'll make that lack go away so that I can experience myself fully in my life. That's where I'm coming from. Yeah. That's who I want to be around. That's what I'm here for. Not the people who want to be like everybody else better. But the people who want to wake up to their divinity and their power and their enlightenment and their relationship to God so they can be the gulls that can fly so easily that food is no problem because they're so powerful in terms of who they really are. And that's what I see in you. And that's what I want to see in you. Even when you don't see it in yourself. That's your partner. That should be your mate. That should be your friend. It's the person who doesn't forget who you are when you're caught up in your stuff. Not the person that's making it as real as you are. You know, the Course says a person who doesn't know what love is, just gets in a relationship because they're tired of suffering by themselves. That's so funny. Like, I'm miserable, but at least I'm not going to be miserable alone. I'm going to have somebody sitting next to me. So at least I won't be miserable by myself. That's the average person's idea of a relationship. I'm miserable. I need a person to distract me from my misery, who can also join me in my suffering, and we can suffer together, but at least I'm not doing it by myself. A conscious being is not joining in a relationship for that purpose. They're joining the relationship so that two people can be perfect shelters for each other to grow in, because all they're doing is encouraging who each other are rather than trying to get the other person to act out their script in order to fulfill them and fill up that hole that's inside of them. See, the average person, that's what they're doing. They're looking for the hole filler. You know, who's going to make me feel complete? Who's going to make me feel validated? The whole person is going, oh, I'm just overflowing with wholeness. I'm just dripping with fullness. It's like a big old milkshake that's it's so much milkshake going in the glass that the milkshake just falling over all over the sides of the glass, and everybody right get the milkshake that's coming. You got so much milkshake. That's what you want in a relationship. Two people that's two overflowing milkshakes. Not the person with the empty glass looking for the person with the full one, hoping that the person with the full one will give them the milkshake. That makes you a predator. You just going. The court says you're just going out to steal. I said, ooh, that's kind of harsh. It said right there in the book, you're just going out to steal, and you stay as long as you think there's anything there, and when nothing's left for you to steal, then you go, and you call it, I'm bored. Woo! That hit me, boy. I'm bored. There's nothing left for me to get from you, buddy. There's no other way. There's no way you can entertain me and fulfill me anymore, because I just came to get from you. There's nothing else I can get from you. I'm bored as your friend. I'm bored with you now, because you're not fulfilling my fantasies. I'm bored. So I was bored with a lot of people. So I realized I was trying to get with a lot of people, and I needed to correct my perception, and I needed to do it differently, because I didn't want to be a predator. I didn't want to steal from people. I wanted to give to people, but I had to tell myself the truth. Based on this, Purdy, you were just going around trying to steal. How often did you say, Purdy, I want to have a relationship because of what I can give and share and hopefully bring into this other person's experience? Or how much was I saying I want a relationship so that I could be happy? I want this person to really thrill me, entertain me, keep me turned on. Kind of explains a few things, don't it? Us former burglars recognize each other. See, when you're not a burglar no more, you can laugh. When you're still a burglar, you got... You can tell who the burglars are. But I got some stuff I want to steal later on tonight. To be absolutely honest, I got a little thief in the plan for later on. You know, because when you wake up, it becomes funny. When you're still asleep, it's so serious. It's so serious. Woo! God, I need to hear this. I hope you did, but I sure did. You know what I'm saying? I hope y'all need to hear it, because it called me on my stuff today. I got called on my stuff today. Because I'm walking away knowing where I'm at better than I did when I came in. So I know what I need to be asking for right now. Yeah. And then there's a prayer that this ends with that I'm going to share with you. Yeah, Jody.
This nailed me point blank. And yeah. I actually had a conversation where I was saying, I feel like a dog sitting on the floor by the table waiting for scraps. It's like, yeah. Instead of, wait a minute, how am I trying to fulfill myself and give to my partner instead of go back to an old ugly way of doing things that hurts?
Me too.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. See, I used to think being on the spiritual path and practicing positive thinking meant never admitting to my ego, never looking at my shadow, never admitting where I wasn't showing up. So my thing was, I really got my act together. How come I'm really innocent and I got myself together? Why are other people not appreciating me and why other people are not seeing it? So then I was looking for the person who was going to see me. It was funny. I went to hear a group last night called Motet, which is my favorite band, and I was sitting up there, and it was so funny. I was just sitting there by myself, because sometimes I take myself out, because then I'm guaranteed to get lucky. And so, that'll never turn me down. So so I'm like, and you know, I'm just jamming, I'm having a good time, they jamming. And so I got ready to go, and 5 people behind me came up and shook my hand. And said, "You rock, man. We really, it was great being here with you." And I was like, "What?" You know, it's like me being willing to enjoy myself and acknowledge myself immediately created acknowledgement around me of myself, which is what the book said would happen. I didn't go there trying to get, and when I caught myself trying to get, I was like, "Okay, Purdy, you know, you feeling that get feeling. I know that's a skimpy little costume, but cool it. Okay, now, you know what I'm saying? Let's get real, right? We can get real, right? The point that I'm making is when I use the truth every time, Jody, it works. There's never been a time I didn't do what this book said that it didn't work. So now when things don't work, I don't try to figure out what's wrong as far as the book. It just means I'm not doing what it says. And so I go back and I say, okay, what is it saying? Well, it says I need to admit to myself that whatever happened last night was what I allowed into my experience. That I had peace with those people because I had the correct interpretation of the experience, which was that nothing was missing. Right? Nothing was lacking. And I saw everybody in there as God. I consciously went, I'm surrounded by God. I could do whatever I wanted to do because I was by myself, so I didn't have to take care of anybody. I could just be how I was in the moment. I didn't have to worry about how late I stayed, where I went, what I did, you know. So I felt whole and complete. So since I felt whole and complete, then people felt whole and complete with me. And they like, some people like, can I take a picture with you? They like, they arm around me, taking pictures, you know. And I'm like, this is really a trip. Because I didn't think anything was missing, nothing was missing. But when I used to go, well, I hope I meet somebody tonight, or I hope I can please the person that I'm with, then something was missing. So it's just the opposite of everything we were taught. The truth is just the opposite of everything we were taught, and it's easier. But I need help. I can't do this by myself. I have a lot of programming that's to the contrary. So if I'm going to have a relationship, if I'm going to have a friendship, if I'm going to have somebody in my life, they've got to be #1 priority. We got to be about remembering the truth together, and everything else has got to come after that. The kingdom of God comes first with me, and everything else comes after that. And it's not a lot of people that's the first priority, because it's just not becoming the first priority with me. It's somewhere on the list, but it's very seldom #1. God is usually a genie that they're supposed to be rubbing God's belly to get whatever it is they want to get in the world. So they go to God to get the car. They go to God to get the house. They go to God to get the mate. They go to God to get the phone. It's not God itself, that higher divinity of who we are. That's not the goal. God is seen as the means, not the end. Spirit is just a way to get my fantasy fulfilled. Spirit is not my goal. See, now spirit is my goal. Truth is my goal. God is my goal. Love is my goal. And when it's the goal, everything else is added. It's given. So if you're struggling right now, if there's something not happening in your life, it's just that you don't know who you are. That's all. You just don't know how loving you are. You don't know how powerful you are. You don't know how innocent you are. You don't know how supported you are. So don't let your ego steer you in the direction of trying to come up with who needs to change so you can be happy and what needs to change for you to be happy. Because that's the trick. That's the trick. Don't fall for the trick anymore. Truly be unique. Truly be different. Don't do what everybody else is doing who are innocent. That's where everybody does it. It's outside me. It's outside of me. It's not. It's inside of me, then I saw it outside of me. I literally had to laugh. It was like, it was funny. You know, I mean, some of the most gorgeous, beautiful people, male and female, all wanted to hug me, thank me, what's your name, put their arm around me, want to take pictures. I'm just sitting up there going. Loving everybody, loving the energy, not trying to get. And then it reflected it back to me. It'll do the same thing for you because I'm not special. I am not special. I'm just obedient. More than I used to be obedient. And I still disobey. And I can tell when I disobey. Because when I disobey, I'm not happy. I'm worried. I'm sad. I'm blaming. I'm holding grievances. So it's not hard for me to tell when I'm not paying attention anymore. I don't have to pretend like I don't know what's going on. Because that used to be my favorite game. So I'm going to be on your side. I would like you to be on your side. Yeah, I'm looking for people to side with because they want to side with themselves. That's what I'd like to experience, the joy of that. So you're incredible. You're fantastic. You help me remember the truth. Let's acknowledge ourselves for this. Another episode of As the Black Man Raised. I love that. So we're going to do the financial expression of appreciation offering right now. Thank you for sharing with me in my full-time ministry with the Course in Miracles. I really appreciate what you give to yourself through me. Tuesday, I'm available for one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions. And if you're interested in finding out more about it, I have these sheets that explain it in detail up here on the table. Because believe me, your problem isn't original. And there are answers to whatever it is you think you're going through that's available to you. So I want to give you an opportunity to do that. Those of you on the internet, thank you. Thank you. You know who I'm talking to. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the opportunities to work with you and heal with you. It's been fun. It's funny. It's like my online ministry is so much bigger than my personal ministry here. It's almost hilarious. But what I do here is so personal that I really enjoy it, and it's really helpful. But it's really ironic, you know. And so I feel blessed in the way everything is. Nothing is missing. Nothing is missing. Nothing is missing. And appreciation is the key. The appreciation is the key. If I can leave one word with you today, appreciation is the key. Don't hesitate to let the people in your life know how much you appreciate what they're doing and who they are. I mean, don't take it for granted. Don't go, oh, they recognize. No, look at them in the face and go, hey, I appreciate you. I really appreciate you. And I really appreciate what you're doing. And if they can't receive it, they'll learn one day. If they try to deflect it, let them deflect it. If they don't even pay attention to you, don't even say nothing when you say it. Make it okay. Make it okay. Because they will one day. They'll recognize. You know, it's the truth. All right.